All right, welcome on in to another episode of Bitcoin and Tech Wealth Edge. I am your host at Hodler Ranch. Thank you so much for joining today. Today we are in a part 4 of our 7-part series on the most common reservations people have towards Bitcoin. And today is number 4. Bitcoin uses too much energy. Speaking of energy, I'm drinking out of my strategy mug today. I got some coffee on this Florida afternoon. Keep the energy going. So you may have heard this. This was especially a popular argument a few years back. I'm going to give you 6 reasons why that is not the case, and it's actually good that Bitcoin mining exists. So the next time somebody brings that up to you, you're going to be able to use this. So number 1, it's for the security of the Bitcoin network. This is called proof of work that makes it extremely difficult to attack or manipulate. So instead of being able to go in and attack a server at Google or at Amazon, Bitcoin exists on machines all around the world, and so you would need an extreme amount of energy to have 51% to go and attack the Bitcoin network. So it basically strengthens the best money that we've ever had. 2, it's decentralized. So again, we're not relying on a central governor or a institution or a company to make decisions, or a bank. Okay, now let's get into some things that are outside of the traditional Bitcoin talk. Now this is big. Incentive for renewable energy. So mining's energy demand encourages investment in renewables. And did you know that now over 58% of Bitcoin mining is done with renewable energy? And CleanSpark's now over 94%. I'll show you from their own website. This is from, not from CleanSpark, but from carboncredits.com. So this is definitely not something that they're tooting their own horn on. This is carbon credits coming out and saying, hey, look out, CleanSpark's at 94% renewable, like nuclear, hydro, wind, and solar, and they're on their way to reaching 100%. And so they'll be there soon. So that's pretty amazing what they're able to do, all with renewable. So really, it puts a damper on the argument that it's using up too much energy. Okay. Next one is reason number 5, and that is utilizing stranded energy. Bitcoin mining harnesses stranded energy. So this is excess power in remote or underutilized areas that would otherwise just go to waste. In fact, a lot of the Bitcoin miners set up shop and put their mining rigs in these remote areas where there's stranded energy. So they're able to take advantage of that. What does that also do? It also provides jobs. It also provides grid load balancing. So what is grid load balancing? So let's talk about that for a moment as well here. Okay. I'm going to come over here to a real world article. And this, if many of you may remember, there was a big storm back in 2021 in Texas. It was Winter Storm Uri that came through, and it was catastrophic. Caused $195 billion in damage, caused 246 deaths, and it caused the CEO, Bill Magnus, to be fired. Why do I say all that? Well, in the grid load balancing, there is a traditional way that this was done, and this is done through a gas peaker plant. And what that is it's using natural gas to generate electricity during periods of high demand. So again, if everyone's using their air conditioning at the same time, or everyone's on ChatGPT, that stuff chews up a lot of data. There's a lot of resources every time you ask it a question. In order to do that, run those programs, it requires a lot of intensive demand on our grid. The problem is not everybody's using things at the same time, right? So we can't control when there's all of a sudden a hot day or a cold day and we have to, turn the heater on. So because of that, the grid can get out of balance where there's too much or not enough being used. And so these peaker plants are something that can be done, but these peaker plants were going to be done. This is funny. So they hire the new CEO at ERCOT, Brad Jones. He comes in to experiment with a new form of demand-side flexibility called Bitcoin mining. To the shock of who? To Berkshire Hathaway lobbyists. Why? Because they were lobbying they were going to spend only $10 billion in putting these peaker plants in. Well, with Bitcoin mining, the infrastructure is already in place. The agreements are already in place. All they have to do is say, okay, fine. Shut us off when everyone's running their air conditioning. Put us on pause if ChatGPT and Grok are being used to access today. Right? And then when it's not being used, they're able to in the same manner, they're able to load when it's being used even less. So they're able to bring that constant steady state balance to the grid, which is very important. So thought I would share some of that with you because I think it's very important when people try to say that that Bitcoin uses up too much energy or it's a problem. Just remember that real life example that's being used today. Here we are 4 years later now in 2025, and it saved the state of Texas. It was actually going to cost $18 billion. I stand corrected, not $10 billion. $18 billion. And more importantly, it keeps the grid balanced, which means we don't have blackouts that can lead to deaths, as we saw in 2021, unfortunately. So Bitcoin, in other words, is doing a huge service in not only decentralizing and protecting your energy, your hard work, your economic output. It's also protecting the so important electrical grid, which is really, really cool. So keep that in mind next time someone tries to tell you that Bitcoin's using too much energy. Set them straight with those 6 things. All right. Thank you again for joining. Join us next time when we talk about reservation number 5 that people have towards Bitcoin. Oh, but it's so volatile. We'll tackle that next. Thanks again.